My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Batman The Long Halloween Part 2. After watching the disappointing Force movie, I wasn't really looking forward to watching this one, but hopefully I'd be pleasantly surprised, but that was not the case here. Let's just address the opening of this movie right off the bat, because when this movie began, I'm just like, what's going on? Like, to go from a part 1 to a part 2, and for this movie to begin the way it does, it just felt way too jarring. It's like if Mockingjay Part 1 ended when they were rescuing Peter, and then the movie ended there, and then the second one begins at the exact same spot, and Peter hates Katniss now, and you're just like, whoa, what just happened? I just feel like I'm missing 20 minutes. That's what the beginning of this movie feels like. Now, I guess the first movie has a short scene at the end of it, after the credits. But come on, like, if it's a key story detail, then put it in the movie. I'm getting sick and tired of so many movies putting scenes after the credits, assuming that we're going to watch the credits for every single movie we watch. I'm filming this review in March, and I just saw 2 movies in theaters, The Lost City and X. Now, I hated The Lost City, and as soon as it was done, I got up and left. Only to find out a few days later that there was a scene during the middle of the credits. And it's like, I expect that from a Marvel movie, but for a romantic comedy? Really? And then I saw X, and I heard about a trailer at the end of the credits for that movie. So I stayed till the end, and I didn't get any trailer. So just the fact that you have no idea what movies have scenes after the credits or not, it's becoming a real issue. Just stop. If it's a part of the story, put it in the movie. I'm getting tired of this. It's getting really ridiculous. So the beginning of this movie, where Bruce Wayne is controlled by Poison Ivy, did not work for me because there was absolutely zero build-up to it. We didn't even see Poison Ivy in the first movie, so this just came out of nowhere. Now, once again, Jensen Ackles impressed me as the voice of Batman. In fact, I'm really surprised at how good he did here. Like, Kevin Conroy can't voice Batman forever, and if Jensen Ackles and Troy Baker took over the characters of Batman and Joker for the animated universe, I'd be perfectly okay with that. I think they're both really good in those roles. That said though, the rest of the voice cast I found to do a really bad job, especially Josh Duhamel. I don't hate him as an actor, but he hasn't impressed me in any of his performances, but he's actively awful here. Like, you can tell that he's never voice acted a day in his life, or if he has, you can't tell, because he just brings nothing to the character. Like, he just makes the character sound so serious all the time. It's like this over-the-top dramatic actor just trying so desperately hard to sound dramatic, and it just doesn't work. And I know I said this about the first movie, but this is another review, so I'm going to say it again here. But the animation for this movie, I really hate. It's so ugly and unpleasing to look at. It doesn't have any unique style behind it. It's not atmospheric. It just doesn't work in any way. But how's the story? Look, I'm going to be honest, I did love The Long Halloween, the graphic novel, a long time ago when I read it, but it's been so long that I don't remember all the plot details. And I gotta say that I don't remember lots of what happened in this movie. And maybe I shouldn't revisit it because I found the plot of this movie to be actively awful. I like the idea of Batman and Harvey Dent working together, and then Harvey Dent turns into Two-Face. I like the idea of the fall of Harvey Dent and there being some sort of friendship, partnership with him and Batman beforehand. But it's just not handled in an effective way here at all. It lacks any bit of nuance or emotional weight behind it. And the excessive villains that are in this movie just constantly took me out of it. I just kept asking myself, why is Solomon Grundy in this movie? Like, you've got elements of this movie that are trying to feel like The Godfather, but then you've got this big zombie dude. It just doesn't fit with the tone of this movie. And then you've also got the Mad Hatter and Scarecrow. And what do they add to this movie? You know, the first part had Joker really affecting the plot in no way whatsoever. And this one just amplified that with a whole bunch of new unneeded characters. I like the fact that they were trying to have a relationship between Batman and Catwoman, but the way it plays out, it just ends up feeling irrelevant. And for the amount of characters for this movie to have, and just for none of them to have any bit of depth, it's a real disservice. Like, it's one thing for the villains to feel totally off from the rest of the movie, for them just to show up. But if you didn't already have pre-existing knowledge of these characters, you'd be so confused watching this movie. Like, this movie is absolutely reliant on you knowing these characters from other movies or TV shows or the comics. It doesn't work as a standalone movie. And by the end of this 1.5, 3-hour long story, I feel like I know absolutely nothing about these versions of these characters. I know nothing. I couldn't tell you a single fact about Bruce Wayne, about Batman, about Catwoman, about Harvey Dent, other than the fact that he turns into Two-Face. This is a very shallow movie that lacks any bit of depth. And the ending to this movie, when we get all the answers, I like some of the ideas they're going for, but the execution is lacking. It doesn't have any sort of impact, and it relies on heavy exposition, like laughably bad exposition. And the serial killer who kills people on holidays, I just wish they utilized that character more, because that character felt so pushed to the background of this movie so they could highlight Harvey Dent's fall. You've got so much going on, all these characters, and this movie doesn't balance it out well at all. And it's a very slow, uneventful, boring movie. I didn't like it remotely. The Long Halloween Part 1 and Part 2, I wish I loved these two movies as much as everyone else seems to, but honestly, these are two of the worst Batman movies I've ever watched, and I've watched lots of the animated ones. I'm really disappointed in them. I think you got a story with real potential. You got two great voice actors in Jensen Ackles and Troy Baker. You've got some great ideas going on, but just the overall execution and everything coming together falls flat in a completely unremarkable way. There's nothing about these movies that are going to stay with me. It's just a movie that affected me in no way. I watched it, I'll never watch them again, and I'll move on with my life. So I'm going to go ahead and give The Long Halloween Part 2 a 3.5 out of 10. Okay, have you seen Batman The Long Halloween Part 2? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.